fatal thought impact, past painful thoughts. In fact, I blast tasteful thoughts and past. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q Show here, and now, whenever we last left off, quite a bit of things were happening with this series. However, before I do dive into a review, I want to at least point something out. Somebody asked me a question about Deku's age, and I believe the answer to it will be very simple, but at the same time, whenever you do think about it a bit more, it does sort of complicate things. Deku, right now he's currently in between year 4 and 5 of being out in space. We do know that it's definitely been over 4 years. However, I'm going over small time skips in each one of these parts for right now. And I do want to clear this up. Deku, right now, he has been in this space for over 4 years. Whenever he was on Earth, he was about to head into college. I would say that Deku, he turned 18 after he was abducted, meaning that right now, his age, if I do at least keep it accurate in my head, he would be about either 22 or 23. At the very most, he would at least barely be close to 24. And that is how things currently are right now. I do want to clear it up for the one person who I did notice was confused by this. Now, with that being said, we do also at least have things in the last part. John was suspicious of Deku and Aki's relationship. Kaylee, she was concerned about John. Deku, him and Aki were training with the ancient yautja Val Z Kal. And we at least do have things over with David. David was able to get Walter turned sentient, just like him. And the two of them, they were experimenting on the dead bad blood they have in custody. And their experiment, things didn't turn out exactly how they thought. Now, with that being said, we do currently open with Deku. Deku, him and Aki have been sneaking off every few days to meet with the bad blood. And this is something that John, he's noticed. He started to pick up a bit of a routine. He'll notice that there are at least security alerts that do go off sometimes. And whenever he does at least ask and point out if anything strange has been going on, people are at least mentioning Deku and Aki sneaking off, well, city together, or off reserve together. Now, John, he is sort of skeptical about all this. While he does think what's going on is, well, accurate, these two are sneaking away to have their relationship, he's only slightly off. Deku and Aki, they do maintain their relationship. And, well, since this ancient yautja does know about it, they don't really have to try and hold back as much as they really do around people. They can actually show concern for each other, ask if they're alright, and actually have conversations about subjects they do want to talk about. And the two of them, they do notice a slight improvement in their relationship because of this. However, you at least do have the ancient yautja. He does try to maintain a professional feel around these two. However, yeah. The fact is, they do sort of kinda relax a bit too much. And he is annoyed by this. He does understand that the two, they do keep this a very large secret. So he does sort of let it slide because the fact is, these two are able to work very well together and take him on. Now, the two of them, they do head back to the reserve and eventually do enter back into the city. As while the two are doing this, you do currently have John. John, he has been keeping an eye on them. And today they did not return with a prey. And he is sort of curious as to what's going on. because the two of them, they did seem to be talking back and forth when they did walk in, and they kind of did linger there for a minute with the gate open. And whenever John was made aware of this, he did go to somewhat yell at them, him turning on an intercom and shouting for them to close the damn gate, since they don't know exactly what can sneak in if the two are distracted like how they are. And Deku, when he does at least go to turn after hearing the voice, he does go to just bring up his hand and give him the finger. As John, he does shout at Deku, before Deku he does go to click down a button on his gauntlet. Before he does go to bring that finger back up and show it off again. Informing John that he clicked the damn button. Does he feel better now? It's not the point, jackass. I don't care. Besides, you won't have to deal with me for a few days. Weeks, maybe, at the best. What are you talking about? I'm gonna be going off planet soon. Gotta hunt something. That's what I'm talking about. At least you guys will be able to at least maintain competence, right? Maybe. I'm about to alert my people about a few things. Get them prepared and make sure that they can handle things without me here. And John, don't try to take their weapons again. They train with them and they know they're not toys. Do you understand that? No. John, he does get a shot at Deku. That, if they're aware that they're weapons, then they should be aware they should turn them over. And Deku, he does reinstate his simple thing. They're not going to turn them over because they want to have protection on their side. If they are in charge of their own safety, then they'll at least not be as paranoid as people without weapons. And John, he kinda doesn't really have time for this dispute, as he does make a snide remark about Deku and his girl, at least leaving the damn planet for some time. And whenever that remark was said, you did actually at least have Deku's somewhat smirk on his face, somewhat turned to a bit more of, oh shit, for a second. And Deku, he just go to turn his head to a key, as he did just look right at her for a minute. And she just stared directly at Deku without saying a single word. And John, he did notice this strange silence for a minute. Well, he can't tell if he's just simply looking at her because, well, apparently that might be what he just thinks is going on, or if he looked at her a bit concerned because that's actually could be it. Deku, he does just turn back to the camera and tell John that he just sounds really fucking crazy. You know that? So you're telling me you two don't have a thing going on? Yeah, no, we don't. Well, that is weird. I don't think I'll even acknowledge you said that. No. Aki, she does just go to do one simple thing. John may not be able to understand her, but she does just go to give him the finger and shake her head no. And Deku, when he does at least turn to Aki, he does start to somewhat laugh. As John, while he does get a bit annoyed, he does at least try to shake off what he might have seen. Now, we do actually have where Deku, after heading back to the area where his people do train at, the gym, he does start to get a few things written up. He does get some plans written up for what his commanders will be doing. Deku, he doesn't want to leave them without a training plan. And while Deku could simply just message this to them, if he does at least go to post it on the wall, people will be a whole lot more inclined to see it, since this area is actually a high traffic one for the yautja trainees, since they do try to improve and adapt and well train their own muscles. Deku knows that if he posts it here, everybody will see it and at least go to communicate with one another. So that's what he's currently doing. And as Deku, he is drawing this out, him writing a few things down, somebody they do walk into his office and ask if he has a minute to talk. As Deku, he does turn his head and see Commander Dark, one of the original 6 people who he let in on the engineer's secret for the first time. The ones who they were able to take down a xenomorph altogether using traps. Now, Deku he does stare at Dark, asking her exactly what she wants. Uh, sir, I, well, I need to talk to you about something. Hmm? Okay, what is it? Well, I'm going to need some time off soon. Uh, time off? Exactly what do you mean? Well, sir, very soon I'm not really going to be able to do very much to help with training young and blooded. And, well, I have to take some time off for personal reasons. So, I believe I should at least inform you about it. I've been trying to manage with what I can, but I don't think I really can do very much anymore. I'm way too tired and exhausted. Uh, okay, Dark, what exactly do you mean? Deku going from writing things down and half paying attention to fully paying attention. As Dark, she does at least try to explain that her and another person, they've been, well, a bit close. And recently a few things have happened that would mean that she'd have to take time away from her training. And Deku, after staring at Dark, he does have a click in his head. Oh, so you mean that you're... Yes, sir. Oh, congratulations. You just... You don't seem the motherly type. No. That's not what I mean. It's just... You're... I'd never pictured you as... Well, you know. Sir, I don't exactly know what you mean, but I can only assume you mean you don't see me as, well, the one who can get a date. No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. It's just, is it, is it Tusk? I mean, you and the guy are good friends, and, well, I just don't really see it, and actually, sir, it's not Tusk. Okay, so it's not the guy you spend a lot of time with, so exactly who is it about? Um, it's Jackal. I'm sorry, you and Jackal? I thought you hated the guy. I don't hate him. He's a jokester, and I can be serious with him. Okay, I'm just gonna brush us off. You just take care of yourself. And, wow. Okay, hmm, that's quite a lot. Congratulations, just, you're free to go. Thank you, sir. Dark going to leave. And Deku, he does try to imagine that. Jackal and Dark? Those two, they've always kind of been in each other's throats. But apparently they've been somewhere else. Now, Deku, he does go back to what he was doing. As after at least informing people that Commander Dark will not be available for training them, he does kind of have to put a bit more stress on his other commanders. The other five, who would be Tusk, Jackal, Shorty, Cleaver, and Trapper. Now, Deku, he does know that these five will be reliable. And Jackal, yeah. Right now, he's going to be getting a class that would have been Darks. Now, with that, we do at least have where Deku and the key, the day they're currently getting prepared for, is approaching soon. And it does eventually arrive whenever they are leaving the planet. However, as they're currently going to leave with the ancient predator to go after a xenomorph queen, we do have over with David. David, he has been very intrigued. Him and Walter, they've done their experiment. And, well, it didn't turn out exactly how they thought. The black goo, it does quite a lot to living cells. And while they thought initially it would reverse death, at least be a bit more of a gateway to immortality, they found out it wasn't. The yautja they were experimenting on, while the cells did start to come back to life, they basically almost died as soon as they did. And while the yautja itself did try to, well, seize up and get off the table, it didn't get too far. It was strapped down. And the moment the body did start to actually reanimate, it also did start to break down. It almost evaporating into a dust-like substance after a few minutes. And, well, breaking free from the restraint because the limbs disintegrated too much. And this was something that David and Walter, they both did at least go to mark down. And Walter, he was a bit more surprised. As David, he wanted to experiment a bit more with the black goo. And he did express to him that the current experiment he's going to be running is going to take some time. And, well, right now, he's going to have to be working on at least another project. David holding 2 vials with different substances inside, as he does hold up a container of the black goo, expressing that he wants to know exactly what will happen when he does mix these codes together. And David, he does start to do that very thing. As Walter, he does get rid of the yautja's body, or what's left of it, in a proper way, incinerating the dust and making sure that the black goo, it was not able to get away. Now, Deku, him and Aki, they do spend time with this ancient yautja. And after the two of them they do board the ship, they do find out that this is a newer model. And, well, they assume they would be spending weeks out in space. However, after leaving the human planet, they just went into a warp speed. They were able to just blitz across the universe in almost an instant. Now, that may not be the exact way to put it, but it makes what Deku's driving look very bad. It takes a few hours for them to eventually arrive to the planet where the Xenomorph Queen it's supposed to be. And Valzi, he does ask the two of them if they are ready to go on their hunt. And Deku and Aki, they do at least tell the man that they are ready. As the three, they do head down to the yautja, well, reserve, and hunt with the man. As while the two are going with the yautja, we do currently at least have over with Kaylee. She's been monitoring the human civilization, and she's currently just going through the next batch of people who she has in line to wake up. She knows exactly what she has to do. She's been through this process way too many times. Some of the androids, they're going to be in charge of waking the people up. And the ones that they do at least give a mental test to, they're going to be carefully given the information about Earth and exactly where they currently are. And well, she knows a bit about the reaction she's going to get. She knows that people, they're not going to react in a very good way. They're going to scream, cry, lash out, and do all this. And she is actually kind of wondering right now, what are they going to do about this? They can't just keep informing people. Yes, it's good to tell them and give them time to process it, but this just can't go on anymore. She feels like she's done it way too many times. And that's just the thing. She just leaves it to the robots now. She tries to let them inform people carefully, but they react negatively to that. They'd rather hear the information from another living person than some mindless robot, some automaton. And well, that just puts a lot more stress on her. While she could tell people to do this for their job, she's aware that the mental strain it could put on those people could be a bit overwhelming. especially because you're having to repeat and go through that process again, seeing another person react to the same information you did. Now, right now, she does think that keeping things the way they are is perfect, but she's also at least trying to deal with some other problems. The people who are in charge of the mines, they say that they've run into a bit of problems and may have found something. And well, yeah. She hasn't heard back from them in the last 16 hours. The last time they reported in, they sounded a bit urgent about something. And well, yeah. She's gotten concerned. And she's currently at least alerted John to this very fact. And John, he's tried to radio in and see if anyone would respond. But after at least radio silence for the last couple hours, he does get a security team together, and they do go to head out to the mining area. As whenever the two, or not two, whenever the team does eventually arrive, you do have the scene that does show itself. The area, while it is fenced off and somewhat wide and open, you can tell just from looking around. The place looks fucked. The equipment they have, it's all scattered. And after at least finding a blood trail, you do have where they did find a human corpse. And after finding this, it was well aware or well apparent that there is a wild animal running around. And from what they can tell, it's got claws. And it may be a fast, agile creature. And the team, they did continue on with their investigation. They were at least able to monitor this in. And while Kaylee, whenever she did hear about this, she thought about going to turn around and contact some of Deku's commanders, she did want to leave this up to John. She did at least try to persuade him to get in some of the hunters. And while John, he was initially hesitant to do so, he did start to think about that a little bit more. He can handle this on his own. They can take care of this. They don't need those people running around and doing their jobs. It was a whole big thing. And John, yeah. After at least going a bit deeper into the mine and discovering that there's power issues, he did initially retreat his people. He was the only one left down there, and using his augmentations, he was able to see in the dark. It wasn't really that big of an issue. And he eventually did encounter something down there. He encountered a monster in the dark, and he was able to not only fight it, but start hunting it down. The process was rather long, and John, he did maintain radio silence for some time until eventually his voice did come back on. And the men, they were asking if John was alright, if he needed any more assistance. And John, wherever he did drag himself out of the mine, a lot of the people noticed the man was covered in blood. And he at least did have a beast with him. He was dragging out a monster that it had pieces of raw iron and metal just stuck inside of it. And the creature, from what they could see, its body is made of materials. And they're not exactly too sure about some of the materials they're seeing, since it looks like there's a piece of crystal stabbed into the monster in part of its back. And they are asking John about a few of the wounds they do see on it. However, John, right now, he's currently at least walking away from the area and going to sit down. He sits down on a metal crate, him going to reach his hand into his pocket and pull out a cigar. As the moment he does go to do that, he does go to bring up his thumb and go to just move his finger. As he moves the third finger down on his hand, the one right underneath his middle finger, to at least making a bit of a clicking noise, as he does bring up his thumb and light the cigar. Him taking a large drag off of it, as he did just go to look up into the sky. Whenever he went down there, it was somewhere around the afternoon. However, right now the sun's going down, and he just can't stop thinking about the dark. He can't stop thinking about what he went through down there. A man in the dark can see quite a bit of things. A man left alone can experience quite a lot. And, well, yeah. A man with monsters in his head, whenever he has to hunt one down, he can sort of emphasize a lot of the things he's been through onto it. He can experience quite a lot whenever he's killing a monster with his bare hands and using material he can find in an empty mine. And, right now, all he's hearing is white noise, a high-pitched ringing sound as he's staring up at the stars and trying to make constellations in his head. As the guys who were examining the monster, they at least do turn and see John, the man who's just smoking a cigar. His hands are covered in blood, and he's staring off into space. They're all kind of a bit concerned about the man, but they're not going to go near him right now, since he seems to be a bit distracted with his thoughts. And we do at least currently have where John, after he does get cleaned up and try to get himself presentable, he does roll through things in his mind. What happened down there in the mine? What he did? What he went through? And as the man is currently thinking about that, you do have where a yautja ship does fly overhead and a large creature is dropped off of it. And whenever John he does go running over to see what this thing is, you do have where he's kind of surprised whenever a large black creature is laying on the ground headless. He does want to step forwards and go to examine it more, learn a bit about this thing and see exactly what it might be. However, whenever he does go to step forwards to go and reach out for the thing, you do have where Deku and Aki, after at least going to leap off of the ship and land onto the ground, you do have where John just stared looking at the two, as they're covered in heavy wounds, and Deku he does have something wrapped around his torso. And Aki she actually does at least have her arm somewhat in a cast. As Deku he does explain to him, bring up his bandaged arm, that he really shouldn't touch that thing because its body and its blood, they're almost completely composed of acid. That is what the xenomorph queens are made of. Queen? Wait, you're saying that this is one of those alien things you hunt down? Yes, it is, John. And what exactly happened to you? Deku at least motioning to the man, expressing he still does at least have blood directly under his chin, and some is still in his beard. Was he hunting something? Huh? Yeah, there was a problem at the mines. A few of our guys, they lost contact and they were found dead. I handled it. It's none of your concern. Your people didn't get involved, and I got it. I killed something down there. Okay, and what do we know about it? We don't know much. It's a new species. Oh, I just love that term. New species. It's always fucking wonderful, isn't it? You're telling me. That thing wasn't easy to kill. Its body was made out of some sort of calcium? I don't know. It looked like it was metal, but it couldn't have been. Unless it's been down there for fucking ever, I guess. John, I suggest at least asking David. He's aware of a lot of creatures. Maybe he'll at least find a way to document it right. I don't trust the robot. He asks for blood samples a lot. Yeah, he does that. Then again, he does at least look after them. He makes sure he can modify them and possibly create new quirks. It's an idea he's had. He's gotten some of my blood and he's gotten some of Kaylee's. She trusts him with making sure that stuff gets to the yautja. So I trust him too. I still don't understand this whole idea you have with that. Why are you making a species like these things deadlier? Giving them superpowers? Because the yautja want that. I might not exactly think it's a good idea to give a fucking xenomorph telepathy. However, the yautja are intrigued by it, and they'll pay money for it. Or they'll give us access to documentation and materials they wouldn't give us access to otherwise. So, we're using that to our advantage. John staring directly back at Deku. As Deku, he does maintain this simple idea. John, he can kind of see what Deku's going with there, actually. He doesn't really trust the yautja too much, but he's willing to negotiate with them. And it does sort of make him turn back to look at a key. These two are pretty fucked up. And, well, they've got all their gear. So, what exactly happened to you two? We were on a hunt. I can see that. But who took you? Now, Deku, he does get a point up. As he does at least go to say that that is Valzi Kal. And he is an ancient yautja. The man, he wanted to train them and see if he can make them a worthy opponent. And right now, this was one of the final things for their test. And Deku, he's gonna have to fight the man very soon in order to rank up to the rank of Predator. What? Why would you do that? It's so I can get ahead. The yautja, they're still looking at us weird. And if I'm able to at least get up there with the elites, the yautja will respect us. They won't try to hunt us down, they'll take us more seriously, and they'll actually bargain with us on an even playing field. If I show that I'm very honorable, if I show that I get things done, if I show that we're not to be taken as lightly as the humans in the past, then the yautja, they'll be forced to look at us with respect. And fair trades, fair information to tech, fair exchanges, and everything like that. Does that make sense to you, John? Now, John, he does stare down at Deku. He actually can see some of Deku's reasons with this. He's trying to get them to actually be reasonable with humanity and get proper access to their information. From what he can tell, it's the simple premise of just getting a rank up or a career path in, well, the military. It's very similar to that. The higher you go, the more responsibility you do have, and the more access to information you would be given. More restricted information you know. That's what he can see from what Deku's doing. And he actually is a bit more intrigued. The experience he had earlier today, it's still stuck in his mind. And he does hate to say it, but, well, he doesn't feel angry right now. He's usually always trying to hold back part of himself. He always has that built-up rage. And he doesn't feel it right now. And he does just at least ask Deku one simple question. When is the next time he's going on a hunt? Because he may just join him on it and give a shot to the yautja ways. And Deku, whenever he does hear John say that, he actually does kind of just stare at him for a second, surprised. Before he does tell him that early tomorrow morning he's going to take his people out for a hunt. And he may or may not just give them a surprise prey to take on. If he does want to watch or participate, get up early and come to the training center. As Deku does say that, he does go to turn and walk away, as he does go to bring up his hand and click a few buttons to call a scientist. As what is going on, the ship overhead is going to fly away, and a key, after at least staring at John, John, he is looking up to that ship that does fly off, as he does go to look back down and towards a key. As whenever a key does go to turn and walk off, John is at least going to stop her, saying that he knows there's something going on between her, or going on between them. Her stopping and going to turn and look at John, as she does just look at him kind of confused and curious. And a lot of people, they're just staring at John. The man, he looks almost deranged right now, and he's shouting at a yautja. It does cause a bit of concern for many of them, but, well, yeah, that's not really what they're focused on right now. And after at least the key does go to turn and walk away, we do have a little bit of time later, where Deku and Aki they're back at their apartment, and they've gotten their wounds taken care of. Deku, he did have to get put into a medical pod earlier today, since, yeah, the Queen Hunt wasn't exactly too fun, but he made it out alive, and so did Aki. Aki was so worried today. Deku, he's, well, to put it in a simple way, human. And he almost got killed on this hunt. He made an idiotic choice. He shouldn't have tried to protect her. And she just feels like it wasn't worth it. But there's what's coming next. Their next test. If they pass, they can become predators. And Aki, if she does think about that for a minute, she's already a clan leader. And right now, she's going to become a predator? The idea in her mind, that's one rank below her father and her mother. If her mother hears about her becoming a predator, there's no telling how she would react. Would she actually get some of that respect? Or would her mother just try and come back again like she did before? Try and drag a key back down to the bottom of the ranking? Have people look at her like that again? It does just annoy her mind. And Deku, he actually has to bring up his hand and pause the movie, as he does turn and ask Aki if she's alright. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just thinking about a lot. Now, Deku does go to bring his hand up and ask Aki again, as he does go to somewhat lean up and sit up. Aki shifting around a bit, as Deku he does inform her that if she is alright, she can, well, talk to him. She just seems to be kind of out of focus. Uh, sorry, Scar. I've got a lot going through my mind. I was thinking about earlier today. That's all. And I was also thinking about something else. What is it? Well, I was thinking about that John character. That human, he seems to potentially know about us. Huh? Oh, that guy. Yeah, I'm not exactly too sure. The guy seems to think there's something going on between us, but I think we've been able to fool him so far. I'm not too sure if we have Scar. I mean, well, there's just the fact that he seems to be hell-bent on trying to prove it. So what do we do? I don't know. We've been able to hide things pretty good so far. There's no reason to believe that we've been doing anything wrong. Scar, I know that much. But we can't be too sure. Are you sure that we shouldn't just stop coming around each other whenever we're inside the area? Aki, what you're talking about doesn't make sense. We're fine here. Besides, John, I don't think he exactly knows what's going through his own head. The guy's, well, from what I've seen, not really all that stable. He seems to be too aggressive. He doesn't look He doesn't seem like the type of guy who uses reason. I understand, Scar, but it's just a lot of people have been finding out about this. There was David, there's, well, Valzy, and then there's this human. I'm starting to see that pattern. People are discovering us. A key, a key. We should be fine. Deku brings his hands around her, expressing to her that he doesn't believe that John will find any proof of it. The two of them, they've been doing so well for the last couple years. And as far as John's aware, he just thinks there's something going on. He doesn't know. And Deku, he's unaware that John, he has access to cameras all around the city. And right now, Deku, he does wonder a bit more if John may be abusing that part of his power. Deku thinks that John, he may be looking at footage of the training center and other areas Deku and her do frequent. While the two of them, they do maintain a friendly attitude in public, he does know that there's times where the two of them, they do still at least seem to be a bit more concerned with each other. And they do kind of want to be a bit more caring. Now, Deku, he also has been made aware of Aki's feelings towards exactly other humans. Particularly whenever Aki did express to him that she thought that somebody was staring at him a bit too much. And Deku, while he has made it quite aware to a lot of women who have approached him recently that he's not really looking for a relationship and he's just focused on training, that still hasn't stopped a few of them. And there have been times where he's gotten into an awkward situation or two because of it. Deku knows how Aki's feeling. She knows that she desperately wants to scream at them, shout at them to back away. He does find it to be kind of funny, but at the same time, he does see her reason. He's kind of been dealing with it too much recently. And, well, right now, he also does at least ponder the situation with Aki's mother. If she does come back, then there may be another challenge. But if she comes back and discovers them, what would she do? Technically, she'd be at risk of starting a war with the humans if she attempts to try and put a law in place or invoke a certain yautja law. But then again, there is the fact that these two, they technically are part of a separate clan. So even though Aki is technically members of 3 different clans, this could all end badly. There could end up being a war between her mother's clan and her father's clan just because of their relationship. It's a bunch of bureaucratic bullshit hidden behind red tape just because of yautja laws. Now, it does make Aki somewhat wonder if this is all really something good. Now, with that being said, Deku and Aki, they do go a bit back and forth on this idea, as I do believe that is a good point to leave this part off of. And I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.